Art the Clown is without a doubt a horror icon. He's the main attraction right now at Universal's Halloween Horror Nights. He just did a merch collab with Rhea Ripley, and he's even in Fortnite now. You know you've made it when you're a Fortnite skin, baby. This demon clown from hell was but a twinkle in Damien Leone's eyes 15 plus years ago, and now he's the face of modern horror. So where's the update on the next movie? While we haven't gotten any official word on when production for the next flick will begin, we have had little teases come from the director lately that we definitely have to break down in today's video. I also want to talk about some Terrifier adjacent projects that are in the works right now that have me really excited, on top of a new horror movie coming from Damien Leone at some point in the future. Now let's talk a little bit about it. Hey everybody, I'm Killjoy Jake, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. If you're dying for an update on Terrifier 4 just like me, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more coverage on that kooky clown in the future. Also, the best way to support this page is by becoming a channel member or Patreon supporter, where you'll get to see weekly bonus review videos. Thank you to everyone who supports this page. Now let's get into it. Kicking this off, we have some exciting announcements regarding some Terrifier adjacent projects. For instance, Screamboat 2 is going into development at the top of next year. The sequel, subtitled Nothing Stays Dead, promises to reveal Minnie Mouse as a secondary killer, just like it was teased during the public domain horror flick's post-credits scene. Variety reports that while most of the cast is expected to return, no formal announcement has been made, meaning that David Howard Thornton is likely back as that little itsy-bitsy killer mouse. He's a real tiny little guy, but he will fuck you up. Director Stephen Lamorte, however, has been announced to return, behind the camera even saying, "I'm thrilled to announce the sequel to our bloody horror comedy. We had so much fun bringing these iconic characters to life with a bloody twist, and I look forward to returning to the world of Screamboat to create even more miniature murder and mayhem." I like the alliteration there, Steven. I tend to use those a lot. Considering that Screamboat's cast was rounded out by some familiar faces from the Terrifier franchise, could you see Samantha Scafidi, Victoria Hayes, playing the role of Minnie Mouse in this sequel? I think she might be putting on some bloody mouse ears next year. Spoilers, I guess, but Victoria was slain by Sienna at the end of Terrifier 3, and it's unclear if she'll return for the next movie. Maybe she'll kill again with David Howard Thornton, but in this franchise instead. Speaking of scary female killers, I also wanted to mention that friend of the channel Lauren Alenia will be portraying Harley Quinn in the Joker's Wild sequel, Lazarus Risen. The original short saw David Howard Thornton taking on another iconic role of the Joker, but with a horror twist. Check out that short, it's here on YouTube if you haven't seen it yet, and yes, it is weird seeing David Howard Thornton talk with a bunch of clown makeup on. I'm really not used to that. Major congratulations to Lauren on scoring that role, and I hope she kills somebody with that baseball bat. I'm excited to see it. Okay, Terrifier 4 talk. Over on franchise creator Damien Leone's socials, the director has teased some fun things about the fourth movie. Retweeting a post about Denis Villeneuve talking about how young people yearn for longer movies, Leone says he hopes the Terrifier fanbase feels the same. I can't be the only person that was hoping that Terrifier 3 would be a little longer than 2 hours and 5 minutes, maybe like hitting the 3-hour mark just barely. With Terrifier 4 seemingly taking on this more epic approach, I'm imagining it's gotta be the longest of the franchise, potentially getting up there, maybe even Return of the King length. T4 is clearly taking this franchise to brand new heights and elevating this concept from slasher to epic good versus evil, a battle between the forces of heaven and hell. At least that's what I think. While celebrating the release anniversary of the actual longest Terrifier movie, at least for now, the original sequel, Damien wrote earlier this month, "Thanks to social media, I'm able to keep track of time as it flies by. T2 will always have a special place in my black heart for introducing a few of my favorite characters among other things. Excited to show you where this journey ends." As you can see from that little fire emoji at the end of that tweet, it pretty much confirms that we're going to hell. Seriously though, there has been a ton of hints and even some symbolism towards some sort of grand good versus evil battle conspiring between maybe Art the Clown being the leader of hell and Sienna being the leader of heaven. Chatting with Chris Jericho, whose character Burke gets his face ripped apart Hellraiser style in Terrifier 3, Leone reveals a few interesting things about the next movie and his future filmmaking endeavors.
It's definitely going to be unrated. It's definitely
Well, you set
not
the
gonna
standards
be-
for that.
Yeah, I mean,
He repeats a lot of the things he said about the franchise since the first sequel came out. He doesn't want the kills to get too mean, although he likes getting right up to that line. All of the loose ends in the franchise will get wrapped up in part 4, the last hour is a swing for the fences, and the ending has been mapped out from the beginning. What's new about this interview, however, is that it was seemingly recorded in September, and he says later on in the interview that the script for Terrifier 4 should be done by the end of the month. That means the script is probably done by now and being polished over, right? This means the next chapter in this unrated slasher series will hopefully go into pre-production soon. I wouldn't expect it to release sometime next fall, however, Damien and producer Phil Falcone during this interview expressed how much they did not like the production of Terrifier 3. They literally described this as a rush job and they wanted to make it right. I still think it came out pretty good and I'm very happy with the final product. I'm doing some guesswork here, but with this 4th entry being a larger finale seemingly at least, I'm guessing the earliest we see this flick is fall of 2027. And that's okay. I'd rather wait for a satisfying conclusion than to end this wonderful slasher series on such a flat note. Don't Game of Thrones this, Damien. No pressure, buddy. Seriously though, take your time and do it right. The fans will be here waiting, even though we are getting a little impatient. Trust me, I want some updates so bad, man. Damien also gives us an update on his Ghost House Pictures feature he's been scripting on the side. That's Sam Raimi's production company, baby. He reveals during this interview that he wanted to do the flick before Terrifier 4 dropped, with the company that just announced that its new Evil Dead flick is wrapped. Damien describes his feature as an original horror idea of his own, with no connections to Terrifier that feels more 70s and even Tarantino. That puts me in the same mindset as Grindhouse, splatter, sleazy, and slimy. See? Alliterations. They're cool. Speaking of Ghost House Pictures, with Sam Raimi handpicking a bunch of young directors that he really likes to continue his ongoing Evil Dead franchise, it begs the question of if we'll ever see a Damien Leone directed Evil Dead sequel. I really hope so, because I think the big thing that Damien would bring to that franchise is recapturing the vibe of that original film. Although I absolutely loved Evil Dead Rise, my only real critique is that it looked a little too clean and too much like a modern movie. Evil Dead loses something without the claustrophobic 4:3 aspect ratio and DIY filmmaking feel. Most would say that Leone's strong suit is his practical effects, which I can't disagree with, but I also love his cold and dark aesthetic that he's able to bring to all of the Terrifier films so far. I would argue that that element is just as important. I want to feel helpless and totally desolate when I'm watching an Evil Dead flick. That is something that I feel was missing from the latest flick, Evil Dead Rise. Still a banger, still one of my favorite horror films from that year, don't get me wrong. I'm praying we get an update on Terrifier 4 soon. It's one of those series that continues to improve with each entry. It's easily one of my favorite franchises to cover on this page. It's hard not to have high hopes for what comes next after 2 and 3 blew past my expectations. I'm dying to bite into some details on where part 4 is going sometime soon. In the meantime, enjoy the HHN house. I am living vicariously through all of you, sending me your pictures and videos going down there. I'm not jealous at all, and I definitely don't feel like I'm missing out, not even in the slightest. What do you guys think though? Are you excited for some of these adjacent horror projects? Do you think that the Terrifier 4 script is actually complete? And what are your thoughts on Damien Leone directing an Evil Dead flick? Do you want to see me cover Evil Dead Burn? Because I really want to start making videos on that, but I'm really worried no one's gonna watch those videos. If I make an Evil Dead Burn video, just promise me in the comments you'll watch it. That's all I ask. Thank you all for watching, please subscribe, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.